What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, undefeated, three-division world champion, former undisputed junior welterweight world champion, currently the WBO welterweight world champion, and he's widely considered the number one pound-for-pound boxer in the world, Terence Bud Crawford. But oddly enough, his platform, ESPN, thinks otherwise. ESPN believes that undefeated, unified, WBC, IBF welterweight world champion Errol the Truth Spence Jr., superstar boxer, is the best boxer in the welterweight division. And they have also legendary 8-division former world champion Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao at number 2, who's currently the WBA welterweight world champion. With that said, Terence Crawford had recently came out, and when everything took place with as far as the pandemic and things of that nature, and quarantine and social distancing, and live sports not having any live audiences, right? Sports was suspended, and now it's making a comeback. And due to the social distancing, they're not having any live fans. So there's no live gates for the sport of boxing, which is a big part of the way that they pay the fighters their purses, right? So with that said, Terence Crawford recently stated that originally he stated that he wasn't willing to fight with no fans in the arena, and if he did, he wasn't taking a pay cut, and he earned his position. He fought his way to where he's at, and he wants what's owed to him, right? Now he seemed to have a change of heart. Now Terence Crawford is stating that for the right fight, if everybody overall has to take a pay cut, meaning that if they get offered less money for the fight, he's willing to take that, not take a pay cut. You understand? So, meaning that, in other words, he's saying that if they offered, $3 million for the fight, he'll take $3 million for the right fight, right? He said, everything, this is a messed up situation. So it's like, he's coming to his senses as far as this could be the new norm. And does he truly want to sit out the rest of his career? Because that's possibly where it's headed if he don't change his stance. Because we don't know if in 2021, sports will resume back to normal. We don't know if in 2022, sports will resume back to its normal format. We don't know how this is going to play out. And this could be the new norm moving forward for quite some time, right? Because they're expecting a second wave in the fall. So we just don't know how this is going to play out. So with that said, it's Terence Crawford's best interest, to adjust to the new format, and that's not going to be big money like they used to, unfortunately, right? That the big money is not there, like was being discussed that Chris Mannix said something that was telling when he's talking to Demetrius Andre. He stated that a big part of Canelo's purse was $9 million from the live gates. That's a huge chunk to pay the fighter's purse, right? And that's no longer available. So, in other words, everybody now is going to be taking a pay cut. That's just the facts of the matter, right? That's the new norm. That's the new 100, right? There's a saying in football, right? When you get injured in football and you come back, you might not be the same, but you have to find a new 100. And this is a situation where the world in general is going to have to find a new 100. Life as we know it has changed, and definitely sports as we know it. And so you're going to have to get used to the new format, the new way things are going to be ran, right? They're looking to have Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury in the new Las Vegas Raiders Stadium in Las Vegas that holds 60,000 seat arena, where they can have a social distancing of 2 seats and pack it with 20,000 people. So you can have 2 seats in between every person, because the arena holds 60,000. So 20 times 3 is 60. So you can have 2 seats in between every person to incorporate social distancing, right? So that's how they looking to, put on that fight as a live event, right? But that's a mega heavyweight title fight, right? And it's a trilogy, and it's a lot of, storyline built in with that. So for Terence Crawford currently and the other fighters that are just looking to have just normal fights, not mega fights, but just normal active fights, they're going to have to adjust to the new format. And so with that said, getting to the topic at hand, Terence Crawford is now open to fighting Showtime Shawn Porter, former 2-division world champion. Originally, he wasn't set and willing to fight Shawn Porter, and he stated that due to their friendship. He says, and originally he was, not too happy that Shawn Porter was a champion, not looking to unify. And he says that he's more so looking to unify the belts opposed to just fighting guys for the sake of fighting them. So he says, but now he's open to fighting Shawn Porter if this is the fight that Shawn Porter wants. If Shawn Porter wants this action, then I'm more than willing to give it to him. And I said this when Terence Crawford stated that Shawn Porter wasn't willing to give him the opportunity to unify. The opportunity wasn't there for Shawn Porter. I'm going to say this again. When Shawn Porter was the IBF welterweight world champion, and before he lost it to Kell Brook, Terence Crawford was not a welterweight. So there was no opportunity at that point in time, okay? When Shawn Porter regained the WBC, regained the welterweight world title in a vacant WBC showdown with Danny Swift Garcia, who's a 2-division world champion, former unified junior welterweight world champion, former WBC welterweight world champion. When he did so, he had to honor his immediate mandatory, which was Yordenis Ugas. We know how these sanctioned bodies move. Yordenis Ugas was originally Errol Spence's IBF mandatory challenger. Somehow he became the WBC mandatory challenger. I think there was an agreement there for Shawn Porter to honor Errol Spence's mandatory in order for them to have their big fight amongst each other. But you remember, immediately after Shawn Porter beat Danny Garcia, Errol Spence got in the ring and called out Shawn Porter, and it's a easier fight to make. They're on the same side of the street, right? They're under the same promotional banner. They both managed and advised by the same guy, Al Heyman. They're both with the PBC. Easier fight to make, and it's still a unification bout, right? So, and there seemed to be a plan already in place for the winner of Shawn Porter versus Danny Garcia. Not so much just Shawn Porter. So there was never an opportunity because he then lost it to Errol Spence. So he defended it against his mandatory, which was Yordenis Ugas. And then he had a voluntary unification bout against Errol Spence, and he lost the title. So there was no time where he had this drawn-out period of time and picking and choosing guys to fight over Terence Crawford in a unification bout. So where Terence Crawford gets this is beyond me, because I just never understand why he keeps making mention that Shawn Porter never wanted to unify with him when the situation never, in the moment, never presented itself for Shawn Porter to give him the opportunity to unify. Like I stated, right? Shawn Porter held the IBF title when he beat Devin Alexander, okay? Actually, he beat Julio Diaz. And then he beat Devin Alexander for the IBF world title. And then he defended against Paulie Malignaggi. He won it back in 2013. Back in 2013, Terence Crawford was not even a 140-pounder, right? Think back in 2013, Terence Crawford was still at 135. You understand? So the opportunity, let's see, in 2013, let's look at when Terence Crawford, in 2013, Terence Crawford didn't even fight Ricky Burns for the WBO title. He didn't even have a title himself. He fought Ricky Burns in 2014, March of 2014, in the UK to become the WBO lightweight, 135-pound champion. So he wasn't even a junior welterweight world champion. You understand? So for him, that was 2013 when Shawn Porter won the title, okay? Then we know Shawn Porter lost the title to Special K Kell Brook. That was in 2014. So he lost the title in August of 2014 when Terence Crawford just first won his title in March of 2014. He lost it to Kell Brook in August of 2014. He didn't regain. He had another opportunity when he fought against Keith Thurman for the WBA, but Shawn Porter came up short. And then he fought Danny Garcia in 2018 for the vacant WBC title when he gained it. Then he fought Yordenis Ugas, defending it against his mandatory. That was in so he won it against Danny Garcia in September. He defended it against Yordenis Ugas in March, and then he lost it to Errol Spence in September. So he never had the opportunity. The opportunity didn't present itself for Terence Crawford. So I don't know why that's a sticking point for Terence Crawford, as if he's salty that Shawn Porter never gave him the opportunity to unify the belts. You understand? So he wasn't even, when he first won the title, he was at lightweight. He was at 135 when Shawn Porter won the IBF title against Devin Alexander. He just won his first title against Ricky Burns that year. You understand? So he wasn't even even thinking of welterweight division. You understand what I'm saying? So for him to say that he was upset because Shawn Porter never gave him the opportunity to unify is one of the reasons, on top of him having a friendship, was one of the reasons, a sticking point for him not wanting to fight Shawn Porter is like he don't want to give him an opportunity to fight for a world title now that he's not a champion. Well, that doesn't line up, because it's not that Shawn Porter is not a champion and now he's looking to get an opportunity to fight for the belt. Because when he had the belt the first time, he was at 147, you was at 135. And when he had it the second time, he immediately defended it against his mandatory and then lost it against Errol Spence in a big fight. So there was no opportunity. You understand? And Errol Spence and Shawn Porter had a deal in place, because Errol Spence had a deal in place to fight the winner regardless whether it was Shawn Porter or Danny Garcia for a unification bout. He was already had a deal done to fight the winner of that fight. So there was no opportunity for Shawn Porter and Terence Crawford. That situation never presented itself. So for Terence Crawford to mention this as if Shawn Porter just, now he's not a champion and he wants an opportunity to become a champion, now Terence Crawford is giving him an opportunity when he didn't give him an opportunity, is bogus, because that's just not true. The times didn't line up. So with that said, needless to say, Shawn Porter and his dad, his manager, father, and trainer, Kenny Porter, stated that if they couldn't get an immediate rematch with Errol Spence, they wanted Terence Crawford because they want the big fight. So Shawn Porter wanted this fight. He wants this fight. Obviously, I don't know how much he's eager and willing to take it now that the money's not going to be that big. And most of these guys are mainly looking to just stay active and just, at this point in time before, and try to hold off and wait around till things get back to normal before they have these mega fights. Because for Shawn Porter, this is a mega fight. But this, too, is a mega fight for Terence Crawford. And, I don't know how much money will be available for this fight. But now Terence Crawford is saying, for this fight, he's willing to, not take a pay cut, but, accept what they're offering. Obviously, he's not going to accept no $200,000. Now, that's not going to happen. But if there's, a pot of maybe, $5 million, he take 2.5 and Shawn take 2.5. That's reasonable, seeing as though everything is going on today. And that's just my opinion. I don't want to talk about, what they feel like they deserve and the money is, I'm just saying, with everything, the way everything's going on with the pandemic and 40 million people being unemployed, to be able to get and receive $2.5 million in a sport today's time, with everything going on outside of the world of sports, I just feel like that's reasonable. But nonetheless, Terence Crawford, people want to see Terence Crawford in big fights. Even though this is the situation is the way it is, not too many people want to see, Terence Crawford in fights against, guys like Sergey Lipinets. Sergey Lipinets is a possible opponent, but not too many people want to see Sergey Lipinets and Terence Crawford. So let's just listen to what Terence Crawford had to say. He says, quote, but as far as a pay cut, it depends on who we're fighting. Manny Pacquiao obviously is a fight that we want, and we still want to look in to make, but the pandemic has messed up a lot of things as far as money goes. Like I told you, pause right there. Bob Arum stated that the investors are not willing to put up the money for the Pacquiao fight, and the Pacquiao fight is pretty much off the table. So at that point in time, I feel like he's just wishing upon a star, right? As far as landing an opportunity to fight Manny Pacquiao, I feel like that ship has sailed right now, currently, right? Then he mentioned his contract, states that I'm taking not taking no pay cuts, but he says if we fight the fight for the minimum, so be it. So, like I said, he said in my contract states that I don't have to take pay cuts. But if I have to fight for the minimum, so be it, right? Like I said, if they offering $5 million and then you got to take 2.5, this is all that's available. He's not going to take a pay cut of his 2.5 to pay his opponents, right? If there's 2.5 and this is a 50-50 deal with Shawn Porter himself, then he'll take 2.5, Shawn take 2.5, or let's say it's a $5 million pot and they can say, well, we give you $3 million instead of your normal 3.5 and we give Shawn $2 million, right? Something like that. So basically he's saying that, if he got to take the minimum, so be it, right? He says, but as far as pay cut, it depends on who we're fighting. You understand? When it comes to Shawn Porter, this is what he had to say. Let's get to the part when he's talking about Shawn Porter. So he says, that's a good fight. He says, if he's interested in facing Shawn Porter, he said that's a fight that if he wants to pursue, we can talk about it, and so be it, right? I don't duck no fighter. I've never turned down no fight, so I don't want to stop now. My whole thing is I'm looking for titles. I am not trying to become he said, I am trying to become undisputed. Me and Shawn are good friends. My whole thing was before he lost to Errol Spence, there was no mention of let's have a unification fight or nothing like that. Like I said, I just explained to y'all that opportunity. I don't know why he says this, because the times didn't line up for that opportunity to present itself. So, but he says, so if I feel some type of way about that, so he says, so I feel some type of way about that. So, like I said, he's feeling like Shawn Porter slighted him, right? And now he don't have a title, and now he wants the opportunity. And why should he have to give it to him? But he goes, we all got to fight each other. I want to fight everybody. So, he's saying that, if this is the fight that is available, then let's just make it happen. This is a fight that, the fans are going to call for because, unfortunately, like Errol Spence, and it's not truly unfortunately because it's just this. The facts of the matter is this, is that, the facts are, right, is that, when you make it to a certain level, guys want to see you fight the best that's out there, point blank and period, right? They want to see the best versus the best. And so with that said, we want to see Terence Crawford, even though everything is the way it is, nobody's going to give Terence Crawford a pass anymore for fighting guys like Igor Kavalouskis and Sergey Lipinets. That's not going to fly anymore, right? We want to see Terence Crawford in the ring with the best of the best. And we know the Errol Spence fight is not available, so the fight between himself and Shawn Porter, a great fight. I would love to see how Terence Crawford makes adjustments to Shawn Porter's style. And I love to see how Shawn Porter deals with Terence Crawford's style. As far as Terence Crawford is going to have a very difficult time being a switch hitter in that fight, meaning that switching stands and, from southpaw to orthodox and, because Shawn Porter puts so much pressure, he don't give you no room to breathe. He doesn't give you room to think. He doesn't give you room to make adjustments like that. So I would love to see how Terence Crawford deal with fighting Shawn Porter in that phone booth, because that's what he's going to have to do, and deal with Shawn Porter's pressure, and he's going to test, Terence Crawford's endurance. We're going to truly see just how how durable Terence Crawford truly is. We know Shawn Porter's durable, and that's Shawn Porter's game plan. That's his thing, is to test your endurance. So we're going to see how Terence Crawford makes these adjustments. Can he make these adjustments, right? How well he deals with adversity, because he's going to have adversity, right? And he's going to have the pop to keep Shawn Porter honest, right? And so there's a lot of intrigue right there, and I'd love to see how this fight plays out. Obviously, Terence Crawford will open up as the favorite because he's seen as the better fighter. Shawn Porter has lost now 3 times. Well, 3 times. He's lost to Kell Brook, Keith Thurman, and now Errol Spence. But they're all very, very close fights. They're all very, very close losses. That 2 rounds or 1 round could swing in his favor. So, this is a huge fight, and he's definitely, a test. He will be the biggest name on Terence Crawford's resume, bar none, right? He will be the biggest test on Terence Crawford's resume in the welterweight division, but overall, bar none, he would be the biggest challenge for Terence Crawford, and everybody want to see how he passes that test. So let's make it happen. This would be the biggest fight in the sport of boxing outside of Errol Spence and Danny Garcia that's made in while everything's going on what it is. And the way Vegas have it set up, it's not too bad not having fans there. Now, I'm saying that from a media, a journalist, and a fan point of view, but I don't know how a fighter gets up for this fight without fans in the arena. But these are all things that, hey, this is the new norm. You're going to have to get used to how things are and adjust to it. So let's see how this all plays out if this fight comes to fruition. But that's all I got for y'all. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed? Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notification. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all in one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Raw. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.